It's really a day of mourning here. It's a day where people are really shocked, and I am outside Shifa Hospital, which we just heard the news about. I just did talk to the spokesman here, the head of the surgical unit. He said that about 20 are stable enough to be moved through Rafah, the Egyptian border, for better treatment. Some of them had wounds in the legs and in the stomach, but some people here are in critical condition still, fighting for life. In many other hospitals, that is also the same. You have to know that the bullets that were used, they do a small entry wound, but the exit wound, they're designed for maximum damage with tissue, muscle, and bone. So that's why you've seen so many amputations in the last recent weeks. You'll still be seeing more. It's maximum, even though it's a warning shot to the legs or the arms, most of the time, it causes maximum damage. It can cause bleeding out. These are not small weapons of deterrence. So yesterday when we were talking and the U.S. Embassy was being moved, I was watching wounded, I was watching bodies of protesters that had already been killed going by me as I could hear the U.S. Embassy opening in my ear. Today, the protests are quieter. I was at the border. It's about a dozen or so people. It's not the same effect as yesterday. It's not people coming out, calling for that right of return, coming to the border. It's funerals today in numbers today. It's wounded today in numbers today. It's hospitals overfilled in numbers today.
Courtney, you were there yesterday when the violence was happening. It's been called the bloodiest day for Palestinians since 2014. Can you speak to Israel's claim that they were simply enacting self-defense, that Palestinians were trying to rush the border and get across the border fence? Did you see that happening? What was your experience?
Well, I can take you through the couple of different hours and the deterrence that they used. First of all, there were 2 days of leaflets saying, don't come to the border, don't protest, we will use weapons. That was defied. People came, but most people came peacefully. Most people came to the border. There was still even a carnival atmosphere in the beginning behind me of mothers and children, even babies. Some people told them to take your babies home because the tear gas will be coming. The tear gas didn't just happen right at the border fence. It happened over the crowd, over the press. Clearly marked press, clearly marked tripods, clearly marked civilians. The drones actually in Khan Yunis just came right overhead and landed on a crowd of people. I say press not because we deserve the privilege of not being hit along with civilians, but we're clearly marked. And we were clearly with civilians. I was in Malika, but the people in Khan Yunis were directly targeted. It can be deadly. Now, that's not the real issue, though. The tear gas then moved on closer to the border. The Palestinians fly flags, and the Israelis call them arson flags because they have some Molotov cocktails attached, but they barely get anywhere near the border. What happens is you hear sniper rounds piercing, and sniper rounds pierce. You know, if you're 300 meters away, it's still dangerous. You're not at the fence. You're not digging a hole. You're not cutting through the fence. You're in, 100,000 crowd. So that's where the carnage and the casualties happened. Also, remember the Palestinians burned tires, which obscured vision. So Israel said, "Don't do this." They did, and it resulted in actually the largest number of deaths at a protest since the 1980s in the First Intifada, Julie.